You can literally have it all. Everything that you've been dreaming of your entire life. You know, the place that you want to live, the home, the friends that you want to have, the partner, the relationship that you want to have, the health. It's all available to you. It's all happening right now in a timeline already. And I watched this scene in Game of Thrones yesterday that was very disturbing, but I also was like, oh, like with my little magnifying glass kind of like metaphor, I found it so fascinating. And so it was, I don't know the names of the characters, but I'm trying to remember. Anyway, one guy was getting tortured by another guy. And the guy had tortured him so much to the point where he forgot his name and he started believing he was somebody else. And he also loved his abuser and found, his abuser to be the safe thing. His family had come to save him and he chose the abuser and he chose his new name that he had been brainwashed to believe Israel. And I was like, this is so fascinating because like on so many levels. So it's like with the, loving that person so often, like of course, yes, in abusive relationships, but that's not really where I'm going. It's like we get so, hello Buffy. I have Buffy here and Bacho, Zima there. Aslan's off doing something naughty probably, and then Arlo's in the tent taking a nap under the hello under the bed, and Duchess is eating in the van, I believe. So we got the whole family plus some today. They're here to Bacho to eat my grass. They've been doing a pretty good job. It's been getting very, very long. I'm hoping that, well, I want rain to come and like grass to grow, but I don't know, I just hope that I don't come back in October to like a forest of grass. Hello, sir. Hi. So anyway, we get addicted to things that are familiar. And we start choosing the thing that is familiar also. Aslan is actually being very good. He went and got his rope, which he's allowed to have. And we will literally have, like in this scene, the family member, the sister comes to rescue him, and he chooses the abuser. Like this is his moment of freedom. His knights in shining armor came. And so that can be applied to, it's like, sometimes we don't even see when that new timeline self is like right in front of us, is ready for us, has come to save us, and is literally saying, come with me, take my hand, you're like, I'm here, don't worry. And we're like, no, like this is familiar, I'm good, I'm safe, I've been here like so long, it's all good. Like, and I've seen that happen so many times in so many different patterns and manifestations of people, like clients or friends or people who really desire to go to that next timeline, to move abroad, to leave the job, to go to the next relation, or to leave the relationship, and to, just grow into the version of themselves that they've been called to. But then, something strikes and they get met with the opportunity. They walk up to the door and the door is probably right there for them to walk through. And then they're like, actually, it's pretty good here. It's comfortable. Like, I have my friends. I've got my circle. This is familiar. Like, that other thing, this could happen and that could happen. Like, what if that happened? I'm not ready. Maybe in a year. And I've done it. I've done it so many times. I keep doing it. My brain keeps wanting to do it right now because I'm about to leave on a grand new adventure in a few days to go to Ireland and to start traveling again and doing van life and, doing the thing that I've always wanted to do. And this was like a little side quest here on the farm. I wasn't planning to stay on the farm for a year, a little over a year, but it happened. I saved animals, I got to rehome animals, I got to heal in a lot of ways, I got to meet so many people from all over the world and just have my Italian family here, become an Italian resident, start this retreat that I'm hosting. So I have my first ever retreat, women's retreat, October 4th to 10th. If you would like to apply, there are still spots available. So that will be a really beautiful experience. So I'll be back here in the fall for that. But as I'm getting ready to do this and like to go to Ireland, my brain is telling me like, well, you know, what if something happens with the van and it breaks down again, and like you have all these animals, and like, you know, what if your cat doesn't like traveling, and what if you go to the farm in Ireland, your farm in Ireland, and like the farm dogs there don't like Aslan or Arlo or Duchess, and like what if that, and then my brain is like, well, maybe you should just stay, like just invest in like a high quality like cooling fan, or get like a, my camera died, but yeah, my brain is saying to get like a high quality cooling fan or AC system. So I'm gonna let the goats go because they are goating. I'm trying to make a dad joke, but I can't even think of it. I don't know, let me know in the comments. Goating, go. The goats want to go. You can go. You can go. You must stay. Because there are puppies on the farm and you're gonna be a little too bossy for everybody. And so my brain keeps doing this, you know? And it's like, stay, like you could get a better fly net system, and like, you know, you'll heal, which also is like, so that's something that I should consider. I have my ankle injury, but that's my subconscious wanting me to stay small and wanting me to stay in that familiar. Not that it's like anything like the example of an abuser, but it's that my mind is in the familiar. Like, this is familiar. As chaotic as and unpredictable as the environment can be, because we have so many animals and so many people, it's also pretty predictable. I know that, you know, I know this farm so well. I know all the animals. I know it through and through. It's familiar. On the road is unfamiliar. On the road is many decisions. It's many new things. It's challenging my patterns. It's shaking up my patterns. It's pattern disrupting. It's changing me. I think that's the big part too. It's like when you go into the unknown, you change. And so a part of you is like, you know, maybe not ready to accept that you're never going to be the same. When I left my country and I moved abroad, I didn't really realize that, you know, I would never feel the same. Like I'm always homesick. Always homesick. It's like when it hits me hard, like in my gut, and I just feel like I feel so sad. I feel like just very intense. Like I miss my coffee shops. I miss my friends. I miss my walks. I miss California all the time. Also, here's Duchess. Hello, Duchess. But I have this beautiful life that I've built here. I have all these wonderful experiences to go have. And, you know, and I love it here. And so no one really prepares you for that in between of how you change and how you maybe, you know, miss and long for those old wonderful memories. But, you know, you're so different that, you know, if you went back to that old timeline, it wouldn't be the same. And so you have to keep moving forward. And that's not to say that like you can't go back to where you left. Like I could move back to California one day if I felt called to do that, but I don't. And, you know, I have to continue going and continue changing and continue evolving. That's what I'm being called to. And I would, you know, live in that misery of always feeling like I was meant to be somewhere else, but, you know, settling and trying to convince myself that I'm happy in a timeline. And that's not what I want to do. You know, I was just talking about this in my last video, I think yesterday, where it's like so often with that positivity and gratitude mindset, people will be like, I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful. Also, I have to tell you guys something. This was wild. And and they'll be going through their day, they'll be like, you know, just sticking into the familiar and just staying to the familiar, even though they're being called somewhere else. And to get through the day to day and to ignore that voice that's saying like, hey, I want to go somewhere else. I want to do something else. I want to be something else. You say, no, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this beautiful walk. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. And this is so convenient. This is wonderful. And we just like kind of gaslight ourselves into what we're actually feeling. Okay. So up there, can you see? Yes. Up there, I was in my van and I looked outside because all the animals were like going crazy. The goats, Aslan, Arlo, where is Aslan? He's behind the tent doing that naughty thing. And they were all like going crazy, running in circles. And I looked out here, there was like a little, I don't know what it's called, like a tornado Like things were flying in a circle just inside my fence area. So my fence here of my yard is a circle, and I've said before, like, this feels like a portal. And and then I look outside, and as I'm getting ready to leave, right, all this change is happening. There's this tornado, and it blew up my roof panels of my unfinished roof, which is nuts. And I've been having, recently a lot of door problems. Like every single gate has a problem. Every door of my van has had a problem. Arlo scratched open my tent doors on both sides of the tent, like with both doors. I came back and he had scratched holes and jumped through one of them, and he never destroys anything. I was like, more door stuff. It's wild. And so, I've just been looking at all of this, and I can see it's like my reality is always very intense. It's beautiful, but it's just a manifestation outside of myself of what's going on inside of myself. At first it was like, I was trying to like leave one door open and like go the other way, but I couldn't do that because like my driver's side door was opening while I was driving. I could not get it registered in Italy if I was going to have that happening. I had to fix the door. I had to learn to close it all the way in order for me to move forward with where I want to go. And so I have had to recently really focus on what that means to me, like closing the doors and moving forward on what I need to move forward on. And so I feel like I've maybe done a good job, and now it's doing this tornado thing, clearing the energy and sending me forward. With this, there is, this part of like brainwashing ourselves that I want to talk about as well. And so in that scene, he was able to be so, he was so vulnerable and in so much pain and so uncomfortable that he just gave in to being who someone else wanted him to be. He gave up his identity. He gave up his thoughts, his desires, his own, soul sovereignty in order to just survive. And he's like, okay, just take care of me. I give in, you'll be nice to me. You'll accept me if I'm someone else. That's what we do. That's what so many of us have done. Probably at one point in our life, everyone has done this. Probably. I know I have. Where, it's that people pleaser. It's just like, it's adapting to every situation, every person that you encounter, feeling what they're going to feel before you've even said it or done the thing that will make them feel something, and then tailoring what you're doing so that they'll feel better, so that you'll feel better, so that they're feeling better. And it's just like you're constantly using so much energy to try and make everybody else happy, instead of just being like, what do I want? And how about I go for that? And how about I just brainwash myself into knowing I am the richest, healthiest, sexiest, happiest, most abundant, most free version of myself. And everything else I close the door to, right? Everything else I close the door to. And I know, Zimata, I know that stepping into the unknown is going to bring up a lot. It's going to cause tornadoes. It's going to cause like doors crashing and shattering and things just going crazy in front of me, and patterns are going to fall apart, and I'm going to face the deepest, darkest parts of myself. But I know that on the other side of that is freedom. I know that on the other side of that, I will be able to actually see when my savior in knight in shining armor comes to take my hand, and I will see them so clearly because I will know myself, and I will know that they're there for me. And I won't think that they're there for someone else. And I won't think that they're unsafe because they're unfamiliar. I will know when the divine timing is happening for me to go into that timeline, because I know myself, and because I've gotten rid of all the illusions, and I've closed the door on all of the illusions, and I've said yes. And I've moved forward, and I've accepted that if people fall out of my life because I'm embracing who I am and I'm no longer people pleasing and I am just standing in my soul sovereignty, that is okay. I've found in myself recently, and I've said this a couple times, but there was never a moment where I was like, I'm going to do this. It just kind of happened. I don't know. Maybe it was when I turned 30. I'm 30. Wow. When I turned 30, and I was, I don't know, this past year I've used less emojis, I've used less explaining, I've used less things. I'm just more to the point, and I'm more okay with that. I'm okay with, you know, maybe someone takes it a certain way, but it's not my job to, you know, try and control that. Aslan, come here, baby. Yeah. And there's been a lot of freedom in that. And I've realized that I really have respected people who do that and like just don't, you know, because in person they're this wonderful, kind, open person, but in text they're not going to spend so much time trying to like over explain themselves or, you know, make someone feel comfortable with all these extra things. And so yeah, I've noticed that in myself, and I've noticed that I've become more sure of myself and more sure that the less that I try and control my reality, and the less that I try and be someone else for someone else, the less that I allow myself to choose the familiar over where I'm being called to, the more free I am. The more I get to live the most wonderful life experiences. Like, okay, great. I left my country when I was 23, 21? 22. When I was 22, I moved to Mexico. I lived on a boat. I worked on a boat. And then I, you know, came back to California, did California, healed from chronic illness. And then I went to Europe. I traveled all over Europe in a van. I landed in Italy. I had these wonderful experiences on this farm. And now what? Like, how exciting is this life that, you know, for me, that is what's fulfilling to me, because I have a Sagittarius moon. I have, what is the other part of me that really desires this? It was something in my gene keys that has always said that my healthiest self is the one that is always on the move. But Sagittarius moon is like wanderlust, always having to be moving. So this is the timeline for me. And I start feeling not myself when I stay too put. And I've been put, and I'm ready to move forward. And I've addressed, you know, so many different layers of what kept me here. And I think that a lot of it was probably, you know, divine timing. I had to do certain things here, and contracts, soul contracts and things like that, karmic lessons. And then also, I think a lot of it was the subconscious of being, you know, afraid to step into the unknown again because of my past experiences of traveling solo. They weren't bad, but I was very dysregulated before. And so it led me to learning regulation. It led me to working so deeply internally on my nervous system this past year, where I feel so safe. I feel so sure of myself. I don't have to like live in fear of being in random countries and random parking lots and random places in nature anymore. Especially it helps that I have a Kangol with me, but this nervous system regulation has changed my life, and it's changed my chronic illness. It's changed the way that I see myself, the way that I get to, you know, show up in my life, in my relationships. Like I have these blossoming relationships that I'm so excited about, that I feel so in alignment with, that I just can see that it's, you know, a soulmate, soul contract in many different ways, many different relationships. It's not always just romantic, but I see so many wonderful things on the horizon because I've done this work, and I've sat here in my portal, and I've rested, and I've received, and I've gone inwards. And so I created all these programs this past year because I wanted to give that to everybody who wants it too. And so decondition is like my most intensive. It's a 12-week program. The next round is starting July 1st. There's a lot of dogs in different areas. July 1st. And so we just are finishing up this last round of 3-month people, and so I'm opening it up for 10 people for this July 1st one. And so you have access to me for 3 months, and you know, any questions that you have, you can email me with them. It's all about deconditioning the mind so that you can set yourself free, live the life that you want. Everything that we just talked about in this video. There's guided meditation, there's sound therapy, there's journal prompts every single week, there's EFT. Aslan. Was that him who just cried? Aslan, come here! Are you okay? Oh, he's limping. Hold on. Hey, are you okay? Is it hurting? Let me touch. It's okay, huh? What'd you do? Did you do something bad? Come on, let's see your walk. Come on. You got a little limp. Come on. Oh, poor thing. They have been digging this hole. I should do this with my ankle. Underneath my tent here, which is just so naughty and then he hurt his ankle maybe on one of these strings. My garden. I was so excited. I actually had a little salad the other day from my garden stuff because those are some good lettuce pieces. Didn't realize that those were weeds. Okay, so he's fine. He's not limping anymore. But anyway, there's 10 spots available. Well, not 10 anymore, but there will be 10 total available for this round. So if you want to sign up for decondition, that's available. I also have my newest program launching on July 1st as well, which is called Healed, 21 Days to Regulate. It's designed specifically for chronic illness because that is what got me here to this timeline, is my experience with chronic illness, with Lyme, mold, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, mast cell activation syndrome, POTS, probably lupus or fibromyalgia. Like I've had it, not all, but I've had a really significant experience with my health, and the thing that gave me my life back was nervous system regulation. I tried all the different things, the diets, the detoxes, the supplements, the IVs, so many different protocols, the parasites, the cleanses, the heavy metal cleanses, the liver and gallbladder flushes, and I really started to know myself again and to see clearly again when I learned this work of working with the limbic system and working with my neuroplasticity. And so this program is designed specifically for that. I wanted it to be affordable. I wanted it to be easily grasped, because the ones that I learned from were way too much to learn from for somebody who's dealing with a chronic illness and deals with fatigue and brain fog, and it just doesn't have that capacity. And so that's why, and also has a hard time maybe working, and because they're sick. And so that was my case too. It's like I wasn't making enough money. I was spending all my money on treatments to afford a lot of these different programs. So I made it affordable as well for that reason. So if any of those call you, the women's retreat, decondition, Healed, 21 Days to Regulate. I also have my other two programs, 21 Days to Rewire Your Mind and 21 Days to Know Your Divine Guidance. Those have all been created in this portal of this farm, which is crazy to think. That's actually a lot to create this past year. I love it. I invite you to those, and then yeah, we'll see what comes next. I just picked my route for Ireland. I'll leave in a few days. I have to get the ferry still and pick a ferry date, but I found some stops that I would like to do on the way there. Not many, because when you go to Ireland with your dog, not with cat anymore, but with your dog, you have to do a dewormer, and you only have like 5-7 days from when they get it to cross the border over there. And my vet is here in Italy. I don't want to have to find one in France, so I'll do that and then try and make it quick and get over to Ireland and go explore and take you guys along on the new journey. Wild, so wild. So thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.